So today it's a little bit rainy, and one important thing about running large machinery is that you always have to make sure that you take proper care of them. And one big thing is changing the oil in them. We change the oil in our tractors twice a year. During the winter we put a lighter oil in them to help them start easier, because in the winter it gets so cold that if you put a thicker oil in it, then it's a little harder for the engine to run. Same goes for summer. If you have too thin of an oil in it, then the oil is too viscous, you could say, and it's basically just too runny. So today I'm going to change the oil in the 4230. Some important things to have is a crescent wrench, bucket to sit on, and a bucket to collect the oil. Another important thing to have is a funnel, but I can't seem to find ours, so I'm just going to kind of wing it, and usually I'm pretty successful with this, so we'll see how it goes. Alright, so I got my latex gloves on. Now all I need to do is take the crescent wrench to that, and I need to turn it. I pre-loosened it because it was pretty tight. Now see, all I have to basically do now, it's not leaking out yet. If it will, I can just unloosen it with my fingers, which I can, so let's see how this goes. Alright, here goes everything. Now you really don't want to get this bolt dirty, so you have to set it somewhere safe when you pull it out. There we go. Look at that. Perfect. Kind of. And I got some on my hand. But, oh well. And all we have to do is wait for that to drain out. We can plug it back up, and then we start filling it up again. Now that the oil's done running out, we can go ahead and put the bolt back in. Now it's still leaking just a little bit, but not enough. It's too much. And yes, I put on a new glove. I gave up on that last one. Okay. And once you do that, we gotta go take our crescent wrench. I'll actually do this. Use my left hand, get a little creative. Tighten it, make sure that it won't fall out, because that would be a tragedy and a half. Alright, now that that's tight, we got this jug of oil. Let's come over here and pick it up. Now we have a special place for our used oil. That would be this bin that you could barely see. Try to get it in better light. There you go. Basically what it is, it's a pump on top, and then right up front here we've got this little latch. Now there's a screen in there to filter out any junk. Here, I'll turn on the light. There, now you can see it a little bit better. Now it's got that gross screen in there. No matter how many times you clean it out, it'll get dirty within putting one jug in. And here we've got a dipstick that tells us how much oil is in it. Now basically what this pump consists of is just, you put anything you want to fill up here, like any cup or anything, you just push that to the side, and you rotate this end here, and it'll pump the oil out, and you can use it for whatever. And what we usually use it on is the barn down there, the barn cleaner. We need to keep that lubricated in the winter, and oil helps keep any water on it, and it helps it keep from freezing. So that's what we use all our used oil for. Now what we're looking at is the oil filter. Now I've got this little handy dandy wrench on it. It's to help me take it off. Got the new filter over here. All I have to do is lift up on this, tighten it up, and it'll start turning. You have to be extremely careful not to get the new filter dirty whatsoever. It's extremely important. Alright, now that I've got the new filter out of its box, got the old one right here. Extremely important thing is that, since I'm wearing latex gloves, you take the dab of oil over here, you bring it to the new filter, and place it around the rim. Now the reason for this is, it's so that when we put the gasket in there, that it'll fit snugly and there won't be any leaks. Alright, so right now I'm looking at the gasket and I'm trying to put it back in, just a little rubber piece. This helps, keeps the seal. Now that I've got that on there, run my finger around it, make sure that there's oil on all of it. Okay, now all I really have to do is put that on there. Pretty simple. Now the next thing I have to do with this, I do, so I bring it over, set it on this spot for the oil filters. Fits handy dandily right on the end there. And I just wait for that to drip out, and then I put it with the rest of the used filters. Another thing we replace at this time is the fuel filters. That's a square box you see right there. All I really have to do is push in on this part right here, and that end will come up, pop out, and the rest of it will fall down. So I went ahead and replaced it. Now what I have to do is there's a small nut right here, and it's a bolt, I guess, but what I did was I loosened it. Now what I have to do is way down here, there's this little kind of like, I don't know what it is. It's kind of like, it's just a pump. Now I'll move this up and down, and what'll happen is it'll push fuel through the line, and it'll fill this filter back up with fuel. And then once it's full, the fuel will start coming out that little nut there. So all I really have to do is just sit here and see, turn the light. Okay, so now that I've got the light on, there's the little nut. You can see there's some air pressure in it, because every time I move it, now watch what happens when I release it. It starts coming out faster. You just have to keep doing that over and over. And there it's full. Alright, so now I pulled this out of the heavy barrel. It's the stuff we use for spraying. Now I gotta just bring this over and put it in the light one. And just screw it right on in there. So now that I've got my new oil, and as you can maybe be able to see, this stuff is brown. It's not actually black like the last stuff, and the reason for that is because as it gets used, some of the carbon from in the engine leaks into it. So that's the idea behind that. Now I'm going to teach you guys a little trade secret here. Now this is where we put it in. And of course I have oily hands. I gotta take it off with my good hand. Okay. Alright. Now that I have that off, now I'm gonna pour the oil in here. But what happens a lot is that some oil will come shooting back out at you. Now the reason that is because of the higher pressure on the inside because we're putting stuff in. So all you have to do is pull the dipstick out. When you pull the dipstick out, it gives the air a way to get out and you won't get splattered with oil. I'm not totally sure how much this tractor takes. I assume it's probably like at least, I'm gonna have to put at least 2 in, maybe like 3 I'm thinking, of these oil cans. So just let it slowly drain in. Now if I just pull the dipstick out, you can see how full it is. You can see where it needs to be. So I'm gonna have to remeasure it, but might need to put a little bit more in because it needs to fill up the oil filter yet, so it's gonna take some more yet. Alright, now we're done with the 4230. Have to go into the 29. What we do is we write down the hours of each tractor once we changed all the oil and fuel filters. There's the little notepad right there that we use to write it down with.